Have you ever had that strange feeling that your mind is more than just a camera, just passively recording the world around you? What if it's also a projector? What if it's capable of sending a signal out, deep into the cosmos? Well, we're about to dive into one of the most uncanny stories I've ever come across, buried deep inside declassified government files. Now, this single sentence, it's not from some New Age blog. It's from analysis tied to CIA interests, and it completely reframes everything we think we know. It suggests our consciousness isn't just along for the ride. It might actually have its hands on the wheel. For years, the story we all knew was about psychic observation, spies seeing things with their minds. But the declassified documents, they point to something way more profound, a shift from simply watching to actively signaling. And that right there is where this whole story takes a very, very strange turn.
All right, so to really get where this is all going, we have to start at the beginning, back when the mind was being explored as the ultimate tool for espionage.
This was the whole point of the government's psychic research, stuff like the Stargate project. The concept was, frankly, audacious. The idea was to train someone to use their mind to see a remote location, say a hidden Soviet missile silo or a submarine deep under the ocean, all without ever leaving a sealed, windowless room. The entire game was about passive observation. It was about pure intelligence gathering, peering over the enemy's shoulder with a sense that you couldn't jam or detect. But then, a single document surfaced that just blew that whole paradigm wide open. Back in 1983, a report commissioned by the CIA came to light. And this thing, it wasn't just about looking at the world. No, this was a deep dive into the very fabric of reality itself and our consciousness's place inside it. And look, this isn't some fringe theory from the internet. This is an official U.S. Army intelligence assessment. It literally weaves together brain science, quantum physics, and transcendental meditation, all in a serious attempt to figure out how to harness altered states of consciousness. The Gateway document basically threw out the old idea of the brain as just a meat computer. It drew on the work of physicists like David Bohm and explored this radical theory that the universe itself is a giant hologram. And if that's true, then our brain could be like a smaller piece of that hologram that can tune in to the whole picture. So how are they planning to do this tuning in? Well, the key was a technology called hemisync. It's a system that uses specific audio frequencies, binaural beats, to get the left and right sides of your brain working together to guide you into these expanded states of mind and hopefully beyond the physical body. And here it is. This is the absolute kicker. The CIA's own research was concluding that in these altered states, consciousness could stop being a passive thing and start acting like a coherent wave of energy that it could interact with and maybe even influence reality. It could go from just seeing to doing. And this is where the story gets really uncanny, because these exact same theories that the CIA was exploring in the 80s are now being put into practice by groups of regular people who claim they're not just viewing reality, they're actually vectoring something into it. It's called the CE-5 movement, which stands for Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. The whole idea is that we can proactively initiate contact, not by building some massive radio telescope, but by using the one tool the Gateway process was obsessed with, consciousness itself. Their main technique is something called coherent thought sequencing. It's a pretty precise protocol. First, you get into that deep, meditative state the CIA was studying, but instead of just looking at something, you project a clear signal from where you are. You're essentially creating a mental roadmap, a set of GPS coordinates for something else to follow. So why would that even work? Well, the belief behind it is that advanced intelligences out there have technology that can actually pick up on these focused, non-local thoughts. So in this model, a coherent mental signal isn't some vague feeling. It's a clear broadcast, as crisp as a TV signal. This all brings us to the first major way of interpreting what could be going on here. It's a perspective that sees all of this through the lens of quantum physics and a deeply interconnected cosmos. This is the quantum radio theory. It basically says that consciousness is fundamental to the universe. So, when you get into one of these deep, coherent states, you're not just thinking inside your skull. You're actually broadcasting on a universal frequency, one that goes beyond space and time. According to this worldview, the entire universe is conscious. Everything from the tiniest particle to the biggest galaxy, it's all part of one fundamental awareness. So the signal you send isn't just going out into an empty void, it's actually resonating inside a system that's already listening. But like with any powerful discovery, there's another much darker way to look at all of this. This is the other side of the coin, a perspective that has nothing to do with cosmic unity and everything to do with power, control, and conflict. Because if consciousness is a whole new domain of reality that we can access and influence, then history tells us one thing with absolute certainty: somebody, somewhere, is going to try and turn it into a weapon. And this declassified CIA document log seems to confirm that fear. Years after the Gateway process, intelligence agencies weren't just thinking about exploration. They were studying the new mental battlefield and psychotronics, which is literally the science of mind warfare. This right here, this question, gets to the very heart of what the national security state is afraid of. Think about it. If a group of people meditating in the desert can initiate contact on their own, it represents a massive loss of control. It completely bypasses governments, militaries, the whole intelligence system. It basically democratizes first contact. And this is the final and most chilling piece of the whole puzzle. Sources from inside these programs have warned that in order to get control back, covert human projects using advanced man-made technology could stage fake alien events. And what's the goal? To create a threat, to demonize the phenomenon, and to put the power right back in the hands of the military. So whether it's a quantum call to the cosmos or a trigger in some huge geopolitical chess match, one thing is for sure. Right now, out there under the stars, people are gathering. They're quieting their minds, and a signal is being sent. You know, the ultimate question isn't whether we can call out. The declassified record pretty strongly suggests we can. The real question is, when we do, what or who is listening? And will we even be able to tell the difference?